The Charlotte Hornets just missed the playoffs for the 9th year in a row, and so far they haven't done much in the offseason to improve their roster. So it feels like every year you can basically pencil them in for being a lottery team.
You know, you're the guy who's more into like stocks and whatnot. Is there a way to short an NBA team? Because if there is, I'm going to do it with the Hornets.
Yeah, you'd be rich. Before we start talking about why the Hornets are always bad, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any new videos.
But first, a word from the sponsor of today's video, Factor. Factor is a meal delivery service that offers fresh, never frozen, and dietitian-approved meals straight to your doorstep. You can choose from a variety of popular options, including Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or even vegan and veggie. And prepping the meals is as easy as it gets. No more firing up the stove and burning your hand because you left the spatula on the pan for too long. Don't read too far into that purely hypothetical statement. Simply poke a couple holes in the film, heat it up for a couple of minutes in the microwave, and you're ready to enjoy. And just like with the prep, there's no cleanup, no need to wash a bunch of dishes, so you can get right to enjoying your meal. Saves me a ton of time, which I need because that heat video is coming out Friday, and boy, it's a long one. So if you want to enjoy some delicious, fresh, and never frozen meals, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code 50synthetic to get 50% off your first Factor box. Once again, that's factor75.com. Use code 50synthetic for 50% off your first Factor box. And thank you again to Factor for sponsoring today's video.
So before we get into the actual reasons the Hornets have been terrible, let's do a quick recap of the franchise since basketball returned to Charlotte in 2004. Because before, the Charlotte Hornets we know now, there was a Charlotte Hornets in the 90s, and they were pretty damn good, at least for their short stint there. You had Alonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson, guys like Kendall Gill, Muggsy Bogues. But when basketball left Charlotte after the Hornets' departure, the Bobcats, they were down at the bottom of the totem pole.
Bobcats.
That's a terrible name.
High School Musical ass name.
I mean, yeah, it just is. I mean, it's always tough as an expansion franchise. It doesn't matter the sport. You do get Gerald Wallace in the expansion draft. I mean, he'd be a key piece for them over the next few seasons. You trade up in the 04 draft and you select Emeka Okafor out of UConn. I mean, he won Rookie of the Year, looked very promising early on, but he basically just ended up being a role player.
You also take fat-ass Raymond Felton in the 2005 draft, so, you got a decent group of young players to start out with, but, you still lacked the all-star, superstar level player early on. But after 5 years of not making the playoffs, the Bobcats finally got their first playoff berth in 2010. Gerald Wallace made his first and only all-star appearance, and he even finished third in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Steven Jackson as well proved to be a huge pickup for them, but, I mean, the ceiling for a team led by Steven Jackson and Gerald Wallace, pretty damn low. Yeah. And the Bobcats were unceremoniously swept out of the playoffs by Dwight and the Magic. And after that, they had a bad start to the next season, and they basically just blew it out from there. Raymond Felton signed with the Knicks, Gerald Wallace was traded midseason to the Blazers, and Steven Jackson was traded shortly after as well. So coming off your first playoff appearance, you win 34 games, you end up with the 9th pick in the draft. Give him credit here. You take Kemba Walker out of UConn. Honestly, maybe the best draft pick in franchise history, considering you got him at 9.
Yeah, at least this franchise since returning in 2004, I would have to agree. But immediately after getting him, the Bobcats would have the worst season in NBA history, at least by win percentage. You go 7-59 in the lockout shortened season.
I think by win percentage and by total wins.
Yeah,
because it's a shortened season.
Yeah, but this could have been a blessing in disguise because one of the best prospects we had ever seen was entering the draft in Anthony Davis. But of course, with the luck the Bobcats had, the Hornets won the draft lottery. Not the Hornets we know of today, but the Hornets who had left to New Orleans. So they were stuck with the 2nd pick, and they didn't get Anthony Davis out of Kentucky. They drafted his teammate, Michael Kidd Gilchrist, who's best known for having the worst shooting form in NBA history.
Oh, it's terrible. I don't get it. It's not even like his elbow is sticking out to the right because he's right-handed. It's the opposite way.
Makes no sense.
I don't get how he does it.
I mean, just look at this.
Yeah,
what is that?
It's terrible. Kidd Gilchrist to me, he seems like the last remnant of early 2000s basketball where teams just wanted to draft pure athletes rather than guys that actually could play ball and
defensive guys.
Yeah, they wanted defensive guys, athletes, dunkers. By the 2010s, it's oh no, you need guys who can dribble, who can pass, who can shoot. Kidd Gilchrist could do none of that.
To give the Bobcats credit though, they did quickly turn things around. I mean, in 2013, they were still awful. They won 21 games.
Still tripled their wins.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And 2 seasons after having the worst season in NBA history, you actually returned to the playoffs. Credit to Steve Clifford, did a terrific job there. Kemba was developing into a future star. And then you had Al Jefferson, the addition of him, a fantastic season he had. But not surprisingly, the Bobcats were swept this time to the Heatles, and the series most well known for LeBron just staring down Jordan on a breakaway dunk.
I would say a series only remembered
Yeah.
for LeBron staring down Jordan on that dunk. Exactly. 2015, though, Charlotte rebranded back to the Hornets. They were finally able to do so after the Hornets in New Orleans had rebranded to the Pelicans. The Hornets, just a much better name than the Bobcats. Again, like I said, like create a team, high school music, like that's what it feels like to me. Like it's just such a boring name for a professional team. So it was nice to see them get the Hornets branding back. They would regress and miss the playoffs in 2015, but they once again returned in 2016. And this is the closest they've come to getting a playoff series win. They matched up with the Heat in round 1. At one point, even led the series 3-2 after a Game 5 win in Miami, but they dropped Game 6 on their home floor, ultimately would go out in 7. And to this day, is the best season that the Bobcats/Hornets have had since they rejoined the NBA in 2004.
That's so sad.
A first-round exit in 7 games to a very whatever Miami Heat team post-LeBron.
For the next 3 seasons, Kemba was great. He was an all-star every season, but he just had no supporting cast around him. They missed the playoffs every single year during that stretch, so he eventually dips to Boston. And again, Charlotte becomes one of the worst teams in the league, but they did get the 3rd pick in the 2020 draft. It was one of those drafts where, there was 3 really good prospects. And with the 3rd pick, you take LaMelo Ball. Obviously a really good pick. LaMelo's been great when he's healthy, just struggled to stay healthy, and it's just really sad to see. But once again, you're missing out on a generational prospect because Anthony Edwards goes first to the Timberwolves. Still though, LaMelo wins Rookie of the Year in 2021. You had some other promising young players. Miles Bridges was promising at the time at least. PJ Washington. So maybe this could be the core that at least just wins a playoff series. The Hornets would make the play-in that season and the next, but they lost the first play-in game both times. And since then, they've done
Yeah, I mean, LaMelo's been great, but he struggles to stay healthy, and honestly, I question whether or not he's like a quote-unquote winning player or not.
I would agree, yeah.
Honestly, yeah. But once again, the Hornets missed out on a generational prospect when they got the 2nd pick in the 2023 draft. Of course, Wemby goes number 1 to the Spurs. Hornets take Brandon Miller at number 2. Not a bad pick, but he ain't Wemby, obviously. And then this year, once again, Hornets are terrible. Finish with the 3rd worst record in the NBA. Win only 19 games. Once again, miss out on a generational prospect as Dallas wins the lottery, gets Cooper Flag. Hornets end up with the 4th pick and they draft Con Knuppel out of Duke. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I think something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, like, it kind of feels like the AD situation. Like, you don't get him, you get his teammate, right?
I mean, maybe he could be good. We
Maybe.
didn't watch much Duke this year. We don't watch a ton of college basketball, but kind of feels like that situation once again. And besides that, haven't done a ton this offseason to improve the roster. I mean, you trade for Colin Sexton, you send out Mark Williams for some picks. So at least right now, you can basically pencil them in as a lottery team once again.
My short's looking good.
Right. So now that you have that recap, let's talk about the reasons why this franchise has been so damn bad.
The first and most obvious reason the Hornets have been bad is they just suck at building a good roster of basketball players. I mean, say what you want about Jordan as like a player and like a business executive, as like a philanthropist or whatever. Dude can't draft worth a shit. He can't draft to save his fucking life. I mean, 04, they take Emeka Okafor, 2nd pick. Honestly, not that bad. Just sucks that Orlando preferred Dwight Howard when a lot of people were saying they should take Okafor. If they take Dwight, maybe this is all different, but who knows? 2005, you get fat-ass Raymond Felton with the 5th pick. Again, fine, considering where he's taken. 2006, though, you take Adam Morrison with the 3rd overall pick. That's a swing and a miss.
Yeah, I mean, I love Gonzaga basketball. I love Adam Morrison. He got me into Gonzaga. I was heartbroken when they lost to UCLA in 2006.
So was he.
I was crying as much as he was, to be honest, as a young kid. But you could have had Brandon Roy, you could have had Rudy Gay, and Adam Morrison, despite like a decent rookie year, was terrible for Charlotte. 2007, you traded the 8th pick to Golden State for Jason Richardson. You could have had Joakim Noah, who went the pick after. 2008, you take DJ Augustine at 9. Brook Lopez, again, went the pick after that, so you're missing out on another future all-star center. 2009, 2009, you take Gerald Henderson with the 12th pick. Not really going to hate on that. Gerald Henderson, he was fine there, but Drew Holiday did go a bit later. Still though, not a terrible pick, like I said. 2010, you didn't have your pick. 2011, you take Kemba at 9. Their best pick, in my opinion, given where you took him and how many All-Star teams he made. Sure, like Clay and Kawhi go shortly after that, but Kemba, 3-time All-Star, led them to the playoffs, so that was fine. 2012, as mentioned, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist at number 2.
Horrible.
Just horrible.
Horrible, horrible.
Bradley Beal goes 3, Dame goes 6. You even could have had like Drummond or Harrison Barnes, would have been way better.
Absolutely. 2013, they decided a 6'10" white power forward who couldn't shoot was the future of the NBA when they took Cody Zeller. I mean, look, this draft sucks, but CJ was still on the board. Obviously, Giannis was still on the board, and you walk out with Cody Zeller, so not great. 2014, you take Noah Vonleh at 9. Zach LaVine went 4 picks later, but again, not a very deep draft, so whatever. 2015, again, they're like American white power forward from the Big Ten who also wears a red uniform in college.
Yes.
They took Frank Kaminsky out of Indiana with the 9th pick. Frank the Tank.
Right.
But, you know, Miles Turner and Devin Booker went in the next 5 picks, so you missed on that one. 2016, you trade your picks, so you don't got it. 2017, you take Malik Monk at 11. Donovan Mitchell and Bam went shortly after this. I mean, Malik Monk's a good player, but he's had a good career, mostly not with the Hornets.
Yeah.
So,
2018, this is the big one. You take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and then you trade him to the Clippers for Miles Bridges. There's not much we even need to say after that.
At least the Clippers can go to bed at night knowing they're not the only team that traded a future MVP.
Sure, they got 1 season of Shai.
Yeah, exactly, right? At least got to see him put the uniform on instead of just the hat. 2019, you take PJ Washington at 12. Not that bad, but Tyler Hero goes the very next pick. 2020, you get LaMelo with the 3rd pick. Look, I have my questions about him, but he's clearly the best player they could have selected there. 2021, you take James Bouknight at 11, the guy who was most well known for driving drunk and passing out with a gun and a bag of Doritos. So that was a 1st-round pick they spent on that guy.
Yeah, that about, again, says all you need to know. 2022, you take Mark Williams at 15. Pretty good pick. You know, you flip him for some future firsts. 2023, you take Brandon Miller over Scoot Henderson.
I couldn't believe it,
Future
honestly.
MVP Scoot Henderson.
A baffling pick when you think about it.
In all seriousness, though, Amen Thompson was the guy to take there.
Asar Thompson, too.
Yeah, even Asar would have been a much better pick. That being said, though, Brandon Miller, still early on, had a really good rookie season at least. 2024, Tajane Saloon? Is that how you say it? Maybe. No disrespect to him. Didn't do much his rookie year, but don't know how to pronounce your name. And again, that says about all you need to know.
And most recently, we just touched on it, Con Knuppel, 4th this year. Look, we'll see how it shakes out. I just have one suggestion to the Hornets marketing team. Okay. Can we get like a section in the Hornets stadium that's just all like Con Knuppel fans that call themselves the Communists?
Okay.
I feel like there's a great marketing opportunity there that you shouldn't pass up.
Okay, so now that we've gone over them in the draft, let's talk about, you know, trades and free agency. Honestly, in trades, there haven't been like too many boneheaded trades. We'll give them that. There was the trade where they sent Gerald Wallace to the Blazers, got back basically nothing, got back like Joel Presbilla, some future firsts, which were pretty bad picks.
And like Dante Cunningham, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yes.
They did make the deal recently to send PJ Washington to Dallas, and they got back Dallas's 2027 first-round pick. I mean, given that the Mavericks traded Luka, they're an older team, that could be a good pick there. So,
I mean, given the fact that the NBA is apparently rigged, it could be number 1.
Exactly. We'll never know.
We never know.
And then they made a couple moves this offseason, like we said, bringing in Colin Sexton. So, like, unless we're missing something, they haven't been too bad with trades, but also haven't done much either.
Yeah, but when it comes to free agency, boy, they're terrible. Look, I get it. They're a small market. You got to overpay guys at times, but giving Nicholas Batum 5 years, $120 million is batshit insane. It's such a bad contract that honestly, when I saw it happen at the time, I felt better about the 4-year, $70 million contract we gave to Evan Turner.
That's wild.
Like, that's how bad this was. Like, yeah, this is back in 2016. The cap was way lower, so 5 years, $120 million for a role player might not sound too terrible nowadays. Back then, it was lunacy.
That offseason, you also give Marvin Williams a 4-year, year, $54.5 million contract. I mean, it doesn't sound that bad right now, but this was almost 10 years ago. Like, the salary cap was much different. 2019, you're giving Scary Terry a 3-year, $57 million deal. And then this one honestly might be the worst in some ways. Gordon Hayward, 4-year, $120 million contract in 2020. That was a Gordon Hayward after the horrific injury, clearly past his prime.
A couple years after, not like immediately after, so you could like trick yourselves and be like, oh no, when he comes back from the injury, he'll be fine. No, he had been back and it was obvious like, yeah, he's not the same guy anymore.
So overall, when it comes to roster construction, it's hard as a small market. You gotta be an OKC, a San Antonio, really draft well, really trade well, and the Hornets have done none of that.
And also we got to mention here, they've just had some bad luck over the years. I mean, some years you have to wonder why they weren't tanking harder. Like, they were always consistently pushing for like the 10th seed in the East, it felt like. And Hornets fans have said that was because Jordan like always wanted to push for wins, like no matter how good the roster was. Good job, you dumbass. You've cursed your team to infinite mediocrity. But honestly, it's kind of crazy that the Hornets/Bobcats have never had the first overall pick since returning to the NBA in 04, considering how bad they've been. I mean, they had it in their first run. They took Larry Johnson, but since the Bobcats era and like the new Hornets era, never gotten it. And they've missed out on some gems in that time.
Yeah, 2008, you had D Rose. 2009, you had Blake Griffin. 2011, Kyrie. 2012, Anthony Davis. Recently, Anthony Edwards, Wemby. There's other guys like John Wall. Like, obviously, there's so many legendary players that go first because it's the first pick in the draft. You get your choice at all the players coming in, and it's just like sad to see they haven't gotten the first overall pick. They're not the only team that's been super unlucky. You got Sacramento, who's also been pretty bad during this stretch. They haven't gotten the first overall pick, but still that's tough because, as we all know, one player in the NBA can completely change your franchise.
And we've touched on it a couple times, like it's just hard to build in a small market. Like you got to have a super well-run franchise, but you know, free agents aren't going to be over the moon to go play in Charlotte, even if like Michael Jordan is your owner and you idolized him growing up. Like it's going to take overpaying. Case in point, Nick Batum, $24 million a year because Charlotte's just not a premier destination in the NBA. It's like Portland. Like we love it. It's home, but as much as we would like to think otherwise, a lot of millionaire athletes don't want to come live here, and Charlotte's the same way. A lot of blame though goes around that front office. Like Jordan, phenomenal player, one of the greatest of all time, maybe the greatest of all time. Terrible as an owner. Good God.
Yeah, we went over the drafting. It's got to be the worst drafting stretch in NBA history. And the saddest part about all this, looking at the Hornets roster, looking at their future, doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. So that's the video, guys. What do you think is the main reason the Charlotte Hornets are always bad? And is it ever going to change, or are Charlotte Hornets fans just stuck in a constant state of depression? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving a like, and hey, we're here. Check out some of our other content as well. And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.